to those of you who have been to FEDCON before, is there anything unique about FEDCON? Is there something that sets FEDCON apart from other conventions, or is it just, you know, one big ball of corn soup for you? Corn soup.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's very different. There's a feeling to the people that you meet in every country, and better.
That one's not on. Oh, yes.
I'm not projecting. Well, that's there. It works so much better. And in Germany, there is nothing to make you feel like you're what a rock group must feel like when they're on stage. The enthusiasm and the knowledge and the excitement in a German convention is over the top, as far as I'm concerned.
I think this is definitely one of the top convention experiences. The first time I came to FEDCON to Germany was in Bonn for FEDCON Hier, so the fourth FEDCON. So we're talking 1996. That's how long ago that was. I fell in love with Germany then. Being an American, a Chinese American, albeit, but born in America, you were raised on Hollywood's films and television, so you have a certain vision of what Germany is because of Hollywood. And I was very afraid to come to Germany the first time. I didn't know what to expect, but when I got here, I found it was some of the most beautiful countryside I've ever seen in my life. Rolling green hills, just beautiful countryside. As far as I know, you guys don't have any natural disasters like earthquakes or tornadoes or any of the things that we have to deal with in the States. You guys have this almost idyllic little place in the middle of Europe, in a way, right? That was at the last year's press conference, someone had brought that up. But it's just been a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I keep coming back, and I will continue to keep coming back, because this convention and the country and its people are something that I've grown to love over the years. So, thank you.
Oh, it is on. Morning. Guten Morgen. Wie geht's? Good? Good. Ich bin glücklich. I can't remember the rest to be here. Thank you. My surname is Braun, and as a South African who lived in Los Angeles and now in London, it's very confusing. In my first time to Germany, they all presumed I spoke German because of my surname, and I remember lots of people being no, keine Deutsch, sorry. And she went, Braun? How can you not speak German if your surname is Braun? But this is my first time to Düsseldorf, and so far, so good. Thank you very, very much for having us.
The next question. I have been to Germany before, and each time I come home, I have a German accent. And this is not funny, but where have you been? So, I don't know that I have it, but I pick it up very, very easily. And anywhere I go, I pick up the accent, and I have to get home to talk colored again. So, hey y'all. So I'm very, very happy to be here, and to tell you that it's fun to be home again. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, I have a question for Amanda Tapping.
I only know that because it says it right here.
I saw some photos on Facebook that you were recently directing an episode of Arctic Air.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, are you more now into directing, or do you have any other directing projects upcoming, or also acting projects that will be in the queue?
Right now I'm doing a bit more directing. I directed 3 episodes of Continuum, Arctic Air, Primeval. I'm going on to a new show called Olympus, and another show called Janestown. But I'm acting, I have a recurring role in a sitcom called Package Deal. So it's a bit of a mixed bag for me at the moment. But for the summer, I will just be directing. This summer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask you how your Germany trip been so far, because I saw you post the pictures, and I wanted to know how your trip has been so far here.
Oh, my trip. I'm terribly jet lagged. And I think I'm the farthest, come from the farthest away on Earth. As probably you know, I landed from the moon. So I'm still kind of spaced out. The most experience yesterday is good. I love Germany. Since I was here as a jury member for Berlin Film Festival, I think I was dressed something crazy. So I made a lot of noises, so I got a lot of fans. But mostly I want people to know me from my work. And I was just in China, completed 2 beautiful projects. And as you know, the big market there, I play somebody from 28 years old to 80 years old. I'm very proud of that film. And also have another film come out, which is based on a Nobel Prize-winning novel called The Key. So I got the female lead, which was originally written for white actress. I'm very proud of that. And also the experience in Germany, I always love here. I want to find a husband here. And yesterday, it's funny because it's cold. I was jet lagged. I didn't want to go to sleep, to answer your question. I went to the sauna room. Wow. To look for a husband. Everybody was naked. And a man, a woman, I was, people think I'm very open, like I dress sexy, all of that. But I was the only one wearing bikini in the sauna room. I couldn't be like there with all the men, women in a tiny room, and they're all hanging out there. And it's very strange to me, but it's something endear about here, and people are like family, very free. And I just love here, and ich liebe dich. So that's awesome. Thank you.
This is a question for Amanda and Richard. I was wondering, besides the obvious of fame, what Stargate was the most rewarding thing that you got from working on Stargate?
Would you like me to answer that first, Richard?
Figure out how to turn on the mic.
No, it's on. The most rewarding thing about working on Stargate. Wow. Wow. The sense of family. Just the fact that in the course of a decade, we created the most fun, dysfunctional family possible. And I think, to be honest, the fan base has been incredibly rewarding. I mean, for me, moving forward to other shows and creating a charity, and if it weren't for Stargate, none of that would have happened. And I know this sounds very hokey, but honestly, it's been the response from the fans that's been the most rewarding. And especially for me, with a lot of young women who have gone into science or who have gone into the military or who have gotten better grades in math because they wanted to be like Sam Carter. For me, you know, if you can touch one person in that way, that's awesome. So it's been, that for me has been the most rewarding. Rick, what's been the most rewarding part of working on Stargate for you?
What? I'd have to say, just talk about hokey, but I am in the second year, or the first or second year of the show, I fathered a child, and so that kind of that whole experience of being up there and kind of acted as a pivot point, sort of a transitional period in my entire life, both, well, I can't say on and off screen, but certainly in real life. The timing was perfect to be a part of an amazing cast and crew and total experience, but also I made a kid who's now 15 and a half years old and beautiful and talented, and I barely deserve her. She's like really turned out well, but Yeah, in fact, what's your name? Amanda reminds me that virtually everybody had a kid on the set. Right there on the set.
Right there.
Second unit.
I was only there for 2 days.
Yeah. Oh, you gave birth to shrimp.
Yeah, that's how good you were.
The word shrimp is echoing in this room. But that, you know, hokey, be hokey, that was it. I got a kid out of the deal.
Yes.
Hello, it's Paulus again. A question to Nichelle Nichols. Years ago, Martin Luther King came to your house and you spent some time together. Could you tell a little bit about it?
Nichelle.
Yes.
Save that when you're on stage.
What?
Save that story. He's got it wrong. Save it for when you're on stage. He's got the story wrong.
Oh, what was the story?
The story was that I heard the rumor that years ago, Martin Luther King came to your house and you have spent some time together. If you can explain to us if it's true or not.
Dr. Martin Luther King was what we call our leader, and he did some of the most remarkable things for society and for people, and especially for my people. And I had a great deal of respect for him, and when I first met him, he advised me that he was a big, big Star Trek fan, which just blew me away, you know. And then he said, excuse me, and he said that he and his family, he gets home in time to see the show, and the kids say, hurry, hurry, hurry up, Daddy, it's coming on. And so it was really admirable to me, wonderfully, in a wonderful way. And I said to him, and he was smiling and talking about how wonderful he loved Star Trek and my part in it. And so I said, well, thank you so much. You know, I'm getting ready to leave the show to go to New York to do what I was about to say was to do a Broadway show. And I said, and I'm about to leave the show to go to New York. He said, you cannot. I said, what you talking about, Dr. Martin Luther King? And no, I really didn't say that. and he said, don't you understand what Gene Roddenberry has given to America? And that you're a first on television, and one of the best firsts that we have, and so forth. And the compliments were so wonderful that he said I couldn't go, and I didn't go, and I never regretted it.
I got a question. So you're all in the acting business for a long time. Do you remember your first audition?
Do you remember your first audition? Ever? Ever?
Ever.
How could you?
No.
I remember my first, I don't think it was my first audition ever, but the first sort of big thing I did, which was the musical Annie, as a little girl, you know the Annie? And, hello. And yeah, I was 10 or 11, and went along, and there was something like 2,000 little girls all singing Tamara, Tamara, I love ya, Tamara. And I waited my turn, and then the only thing I'd ever seen on stage was The Sound of Music, so I had one song, which was Edelweiss from there, and was absolutely terrified. And I just remember sort of finally getting to the front of the stage. They called my number, and my Mum and Dad had taken turns to stay with me all day because it had taken that long. And so my mum was off duty and my dad was in the back. And I got to the front and I just thought, oh God. and sort of just went. And then I saw my dad go, like, oh God, we've got to go and help her. And that just sort of went, every morning you pray. And the guy got the job, so that was good. So that's one I remember.
I remember mine because it was similar. They asked, I had heard you just never say that you can't do something. And so they were asking me about reading the thing, and so I put whatever I thought the character needed and did the interview. And then they said, well, this is a singing role as well, because so you have to have a wide range. And I just started smiling. And I said, how wide a range? And they said, oh, maybe 2.5. I said, how about 5? I got the job. and they gave me a 5-octave range song to sing. And because they really thought I was lying, and I just started down here, and I went up to here, and then I went to there, and then I went to there! And he said,
my first audition, my dad, is this on?
Hello?
Oh, it's on. No, it's not. My first audition, my dad took me to because he wanted me to learn about rejection. It turns out after the fact. And he took me to audition for a play called The Lion in Winter for the part of Elise Capet, and I was very nervous and excited. I was 18 years old. And I met with the director and the lead actor who was playing King Henry. And, I left the audition. My dad drove me home. It was really sweet that my dad drove me to this audition. And drove me home, and he said, well, you did your best, and don't worry, love. And of course, the next day I got the call that I got the part, and my father was like, damn. Totally backfired.
I've got one. Is this on?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember my first audition was actually for a Broadway touring company, and I didn't want to go. I was only there to keep a friend company, and they asked me to audition, and they kept calling me back and calling me back, and I got the part, and I said, I want to go on tour. I'm happy here in New York, so I didn't get the part. And that convinced me I didn't want to be an actor. I wanted to write instead. And I ended up having the chance to write for Nichelle, which was my first script, and it was a big pleasure, privilege to write for Nichelle. I will tell you this, the first day I met her, she was wearing that bikini, 2-piece thing from Mirror Mirror episode, and I still haven't recovered.
Neither have I.
You work on Deutsche. How was it like to work with John Barrowman? Please tell the truth.
John is what? Barrowman?
Yes.
Barrowman? I can't say Barrowman.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Barrowman. Okay.
You said Barrowmore.
No, did I?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
you did.
God. Oh, God. Yeah, no, John, I may be saying his name wrong, but the impression of John is burned into my brain. He is out of his mind in the most wonderful way possible. He is just, he's delightful. And made me shocked more than once. He took his clothes off, yeah. He does. He showed me things that, that I didn't think would be included in my role. But evidently they were. Yeah, he's delightful. I loved him.